Good afternoon. Afternoon, everybody. Hope you're well. Paul, how you doing, mate? Hope you are all good and had a good weekend. My weekend was very good, thank you. Was playing golf again, trying to get the last of the nice weather. I can see I'm probably a little bit more red as I usually am, but yeah, very good weekend apart from that. Okay, let's get straight into it on a Monday. As we know, Mondays are sometimes quiet in the markets. I don't think this is anything massively different. But let's have a look and see what happened on Friday, because obviously I don't stream on Friday afternoons. So the SPX is looking a little bit wobbly, I have to say. I mean, we still are within this uptrend, okay? But what I said on Friday, there was that we wanted to see some bullish pressure here or here, just for us to see, like, letting the market tell us that this wants to continue from this latest impulse. Okay, it could easily be that it's not quite ready to go yet. That's fine if you put a simple fib on it. For me, I use that 61.8 as a line in the sand. So it does have quite some time to go before we have to be worried about a potential fall off in that stock market. But today doesn't look so good. We have the US opening up quite soon, and it'll be interesting to see what direction they take. So for me, it's a little bit in terms of risk off, risk on, a little bit more risk off / pullback mode. Essentially, again, waiting for that RTE from our risk sentiment, that reason to enter, those reason to buy those commodities against the risk off currencies. However, in saying that, we're still seeing some weakness in that yen. So if we go to, for example, a CAD yen, I'll bring up a CAD yen chart. This, for me, doesn't make sense. You know, we're seeing that stock market come off a little bit. Fair enough, it's on account of that pullback at the moment. So, you know, but I don't buy this. Certainly with not where the daily is. You know, I would never be a buyer of CAD yen up here. I worry about possibly loss of momentum before a harder reset and then continuation. But that weakness in the yen we're seeing over London and certainly over Asia, it's just something I would just be wary of. I understand the yen has been weak. I get that. But I'm not really sure, and I'm not really sure why this is happening today from a personal point of view and a technical point of view, because we are seeing a little bit of wobbly action in those stocks. So if you're getting a setup selling the yen or anything like that, I would just be a little bit wary of it. You know, there's times where I think possibly because of that extension, because the market's not quite healthy, and we're seeing this with New Zealand yen, CAD yen, Aussie yen, there's just a risk that it falls off and kind of fakes out to the upside and comes down hard. Obviously, it can go either way. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. But I just worry a little bit about that weakness in the yen because of what we're seeing in that SPX. So for me, again, from a 4-hour perspective, it looks pretty solid downtrending market right now, right? Impulse, corrective, impulse, looking to break underneath these lows. We still have that 200 as dynamic support to price, so maybe we come down and test that. But I think bias right now has got to be SPX movement to the downside, which again is why I don't buy that yen weakness. If we look at the dollar is looking okay. Okay, we do have this inverted hammer on the daily. It is not coming on a little bit of extra volume, which if it did, I would be slightly worried about. I think that momentum is still going. I think the 4-hour does look quite good. Yes, we could come back and retrace and come up for a pullback on account of this possible catalyst for that to retest this area. I just have... Hey, Rohit, mate. How you doing, pal? Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're well. I just have this niggling feeling that this dollar wants to continue to rise. So post-COVID, stocks fall, dollar likely rises. From a general sense, pre-COVID, indexes rise or SPX rise, dollar would rise. So we're going to get that inverse relationship as that kind of safe haven asset that the US dollar has been acting like. Yes, we've got a pretty nasty bar here, but if we think about that 5-bar rule where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it doesn't take, i.e. we expect this to fall down a bit from this particular bar, it's not as if you can disregard it, but you hold less weight on this particular candle. And we've got this as well. You know, some certainly bullish pressure back to that 20. So from a dollar point of view, I'm expecting some upward movement, albeit we've got that inverted hammer on the daily. I can just see dollar strengthening up. So any setups you have buying that dollar, certainly from a smaller time frame standpoint, you know, you could be getting that ABC continuation. So I like the idea of buying the dollar. I like the idea of buying the dollar. And I'm actually in a dollar trade. So I'm in pound USD to the downside, as I talked about last week. I've been in this for a few days. I know we've had a slight push up on London. I don't particularly buy it. You know, the daily is still really nice. You know, it's still really nice. From a basic trend theory point of view, impulse corrective, nice day here, hugging that 20. You know, for me, are we ready to move? Can we do another one of these? Absolutely we can. So this is why I'm kind of holding this. I would normally take TP1 at 1-to-1 risk reward. So it actually hit TP1 there, all right, roughly on this wick. For me, because the risk reward was so good and the daily was so good, I decided to let this one run and kind of hold that risk. As I said, I normally would bank 1-to-1. If we had a stop, say, up here where my risk reward is a little bit less, I would have taken that absolutely. But because I really like this trade, I'm kept it in. So if I can get an anchor here, right, from this latest 4 hour, we get 2 4-hour bars, I'll move my stop down here and reduce the risk. So I've still got 2% in play. And again, I like it to the downside. I could be completely wrong here. You know, possibly we got a retest on smaller time frames of this area, which we haven't done since we broke, right? Since we broke here, we haven't actually retested it. We could be in line for that potential complex before movement to the downside. So if we do break underneath this area, for me, that would look quite good. But as I said, I just don't buy this push. I don't buy it. So I'm still in that, and hopefully that continues to the downside over US. Tamonga, my man, hope I'm not too late. No, I started 5. So I start 6 minutes ago. I'll do this Monday to Thursday now, every week. So good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Rohit, you're short on Euro Swiss. Yeah, I'll go into any pairs you want to look at after I do my watch list. So this is my watch list today. Pretty minimal for a Monday, but that's what we normally expect. EURUSD is a potential breakout retest. So if we look at EURUSD here, so we are breaking through this area. Again, this is a trade which is in a really nice position. So again, the concept of RTM, you'll start to remember these as time goes by, ready to move. This in terms of USD ZAR from this price action here, market structure, breaking out of this area right now, looks really nice. You know, can we move from here? Absolutely. This is what I want to see in these pairs. We don't want to be buying stuff like CAD yen or Aussie yen at the top of movements. We want to be getting in, you know, and sells when price action looks like this. You know, so USD ZAR is in a really nice position. We look at the daily, right? Daily impulse. Have we digested this impulse? For me, in terms of looking with my eyes, we have. You know, we've got movement back to that 20. We've got a bearish signal, albeit it's not come on rising volume, but certainly a bearish bar nonetheless. So USD ZAR potential retest of this area. It may indeed go. We have our cut with handle here, looking for a retest back of this area. The good thing about that is the retest will come on that 220, i.e. a bit more of dynamic resistance to our stop loss. But I need this to come back. This could simply go, in which case, all right, okay, I'm not involved in it. That's okay. But if it does come back and retest, USD ZAR being one of my favorite pairs to trade, I think that is a nice trade for potentially the US Open today, or US session today, should I say. USD ZAR potential shorts. Excuse me. I just drank water before I came on and obviously went down the wrong hole. So I drank some water and then I basically spat it all out before I came on. Okay, pound Swiss. Pound Swiss. Pound Swiss is still setting up. This is still okay. I'm looking for a tag of this area. We didn't quite get that on open, but I'm looking for this to come down. This movement has been digested here. Notice how a quite climactic move was sold into. That's good. That's what we want to see. But we want to bang on the door again on pound Swiss at this key area. So possibly one for later on in the week. Need this to come down. Something like this. Keep that 200 coming down for a breakout to the downside. Which again, with stocks coming off, the idea of buying the Swiss makes sense. The daily chart is nice. Back to that 20. For me, this is good. Again, another pair that is in just a nice position to potentially move. But need that proper price action for me to get in. So down here, it doesn't have to do it as much as that extent, but possibly just something like this to get me in is enough for a breakout to the downside on that. And I quite like it. Quite like it. USD Swiss. USD Swiss. USD Swiss is another one that I do like. We are here at B wave from this complex corrective. So we had A, B, C here, taking the closures on what I feel is the most respected area, which it has been respected in the past. Yes, we've got some wicks to the upside, but we have come from this movement here. So we're not expecting this to continue, right? We want this to pull back a little bit on this 4-hour chart for us to get an entry buying the break of B wave. So what would be ideal here is if we consider this a head and shoulders or V reversal, whatever, we still need a little bit more from this impulse to the upside because we want this price action basically to be digested. We don't be taking breaks, i.e. slight fakes as we're seeing here, because that's often where you get caught out. So if we can get a potential complex corrective or some kind of pullback to that 40-60 box from this move, push on, slight reload on that 20 to break out to the upside, this would be really nice. Ideally, you probably want a little bit more. So ideally, you probably want this to consider our head and shoulders here, neckline through here, slight reload, and risk reward is good to break out to the upside. But we don't always get what we want. We have to see how price action develops as we go on. Ashwin, how you doing, buddy? Hope you're well. So yeah, USD Swiss, I do like to the upside. But it may be one for later on in the week. And finally, what was the last one? Finally, oil. So oil, WTI. Getting a decent setup. I'm going to take it from this section. We do have our larger V reversal here, but I'm going to take the setup from this area where we've got our basing structure, i.e. our cup, V reversal, whatever you want to call them. Instead, the premise is the same. Nice, healthy price action as we move down and tag that area. Again, thinking about that 30 to 50% rule from our initial basing structure from a range point of view. So 1, 2, we're looking at kind of 30 to 50% digestion of this range, which means we need a little bit more in this area to potentially take a break to the downside. I like the idea of that. From a fundamental point of view as well, I can't see oil getting up to that 130, 140 mark. Again, just from a personal point of view, I think from a trend continuation point of view, if you're seeing this price action here, I would be more inclined to sell that rather than buy it. You know, if we were looking at potential complex corrective here, it's just not nice price action for me to do that. So oil potential shorts on a break of that area, but it does have a little bit to go. So a few of these are probably for end of the week, but I do like all of them. You know, I think they're really nice. USD ZAR is good for potentially today. Pound Swiss is really nice for possibly the end of the week. USD Swiss the same, and oil. I all really like those trades. So albeit there's not as much on the watch list today, there's still some value there that we can get out of. And that's about it for today, guys. That is about it. Pound USD. I just have a feeling this is going to come down. I do. I just have a feeling this is going to come down and possibly getting reaction roughly around these lows. But everything about this trade, and I was saying it on Friday when I was doing my stream on RTFX for the members, that I was so confident, and not to say that this was going to come down, but this type of setup usually at least results in a TP1, which this one technically has. But I kind of committed to getting a little bit more out of it just purely because the risk reward on this was great. So if we can come down and break through here, this will look really nice. And as I said, with where the stock market is, I just don't buy the weakness in the yen. I just don't. So anyway, let's see. Paul looking very tan today. Must have been nice and warm in Dubai. Yeah, it's getting too hot, Paul. It's getting too hot. It was about 35, 36 or something. I had a headache actually yesterday because I didn't wear any sunscreen or wear a hat, which was my mistake. But certainly got burnt on Saturday. That's for sure. That's for sure. But unfortunately, it's getting too hot, Paul. The summer is approaching, so which is never very nice if you live in Dubai. Okay, let's have a look at Euro Swiss for Rohit. Rohit, you still there? Yep, you're still there. AUD CAD still valid long. I'll go into Aussie CAD. Let's have a look at Euro Swiss. What were you looking at? Short on Euro Swiss? I mean, I like that idea. fundamentally and technically, I like the idea of being short Euro Swiss. Daily chart looks not too bad I mean, it's a little bit messy, but I'd rather be selling it than buying it. You're possibly getting a rejection from a retest, very simple retest of this area for movement to the downside. 4 hour, decent 4 hour bar then coming on, increasing volume, albeit, yes, I understand this is Asia and this is London, so you're expecting that anyway. So, yeah, I mean, I could see it come down. The euro's been weak. I wouldn't be buying the euro. I'd rather buy the Swiss. So, from that perspective, yeah, you could be saying complex move down. I don't think it's the nicest price action to be doing that. But I'd probably agree with your bias. Let's have a little look on smaller time frames. I mean, this is what the euro loves to do, right? The euro loves a fake, and you think that is trapping retail buyers in? I definitely do. You know, just here, probably breaking a structure, definitely trap euro retail buyers. Coming back down would make sense. So I don't know when you're in from. I don't know where your stop is, but as a general consensus for me on Euro Swiss, yeah. Downside action looks pretty good. I'll go into Aussie CAD. So I've taken Aussie CAD off the list because of yesterday, because of Friday. So this had to push on Friday for me to consider that complex. Now the fact that this price action looks not very nice for a retest and certainly broken underneath the area means I've got to take it off. You know, unless it does something severe, possibly an AB shallow C on that 20 with a really good catalyst, then yeah, maybe. But the fact that we've got these last few days, you know, I need this to push from here and not give me this on Friday, which is certainly bearish price action. So what I worry about in terms of this would be, you know, kind of maybe that, where you're getting something like this for movement to the downside, just because of the impulse nature of that. So I've taken Aussie CAD off just because I don't like it. You know, 4 hour chart, I'd be more inclined to look at a possible V reversal here and possible shorts on Aussie CAD because of that daily price action. So no, Rohit, I do not like it as much anymore. Right, anything else you guys want me to look at? I know it's quite short. I'm just getting back into the groove. I will get back into the groove as I go on. Again, this is only my second YouTube live back. Also, thank you very much. I know people will be watching this a catch-up for 1,000 subs, which is very nice. I've been working 8-9 months for that, so I appreciate it. All the likes and stuff. Very nice of you. And yeah, I'm sure we'll get our community back as little community we had before as I continue to stream, which was nice, which I did enjoy. So thanks very much, guys. Have a lovely Monday, and I'll be back on tomorrow at 5, same time. Trade safe.